So,
You know what?
What?
Since you're the guest,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a few questions.
All right.
I'm going to ask you some questions, and if I don't like your answers, you're going out the window.
Shoot.
So, what was the movie that we watched? I had an advanced screening of, actually.
Mm-hmm. The Ballerina.
Nope. There's no the.
It's just Ballerina?
Yes. From the world of John Wick, it's Ballerina.
Fucking long title. Okay, so I got that one wrong.
Right, you're off to a great start.
Yes. Ballerina. So it was directed by Len Wiseman. It was very good. It was well shot. In my opinion, the action sequences were top notch.
Actually, the movie wasn't entirely directed by Len Wiseman, who has a history of directing movies. Live Free or Die Hard, Underworld movies.
Yeah.
But first of all, this movie was shot 3 years ago. Started
I heard
shooting
about that.
3 years ago.
Yes.
And there was the producer for reshoots that came in and apparently directed them when they didn't like Wiseman's cut. And it seems as though they didn't trust him enough to finish the movie with the reshoots. How many John Wick movies have you seen?
John Wick 4.
I'm pretty
Was
sure
the
you
only
saw
one that
3 with me as well.
Really?
Yeah. See, this is evidence that these movies blend together. I do think that these movies do blend
for
together.
sure that we watched it in the cinema, John Wick 4. I know that one for sure.
In the cinema,
In the cinema.
I think the only one that stands out as different from the rest is the first John Wick. All the other ones just merged together for me. What's interesting about this movie is that it is a change of pace when it comes to the lead. You now have a female lead in and amongst this world, and that's different. What did you think about our gal, Ana de Armas?
Armas.
Yeah.
She was pretty great. She was great in the role. She is very petite, very small, compact, some might say. I was really hesitant to watch it because of the fact that I don't think that she can take down all these guys, these trained assassins. And they are able to have a discussion about this in the movie. When she has her training montage, the teacher basically tells her, you're small and you're weaker than these males, so you have to basically fight dirty. That makes sense.
They tell her to fight like a girl, which could come off as a comedic line. But before we go into moments within the film, what is your synopsis of this movie?
A young girl finds out that her father kills people and her father dies, and so she gets adopted kind of into this family, which they teach her ballet.
It's a bunch of assassins.
She joins this assassin group, grows up, and shenanigans happen from there. Pew pew pew. That's it.
What's the inciting incident? She finds a scar, a X mark. Hey, it marks the spot. I get it. Yeah. She sees the same mark that she saw the night her father was killed on a guy who tries to kill her. In a very great shot, by the way. It's her driving away from the scene of a crime that she created of killing a whole bunch of people in a hotel, perhaps. She comes down the elevator, goes to the alley, starts driving away in an SUV. The camera starts rising up above the buildings, and all of a sudden she gets sideswiped, and the camera comes back down as her car gets pushed back down the alley. That's the best camera move in this movie, and it's actually very creative and was surprising to see that. I think so.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that was the inciting incident.
Yes, and so she sees the scar.
You let me talk!
That prompts her to, after all this time of 10 years, because it's been 10 years since she joined this undercover ballet group that really doesn't serve any purpose. It's just a cover. So, okay. Yes, she vows to seek vengeance on the leader of that village that killed her father. But he didn't actually kill her father. It was just his henchman. And then she goes through various action sequences and set pieces that she's engaging in, and it can be a little overwhelming because they do have a lot, actually. The movie's 2 hours, so.
Ooh. Got a leg shot there.
You have nice legs, Lisa.
You could say that those assassins were straight edge because they had an X on their wrist if it was just on the top of their hand.
Is that what
Remember
the symbol is for
straight
straight edge?
Yeah,
Straight edge?
was.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know the term. I didn't know there was a symbol
Yeah,
for
there's a
that.
symbol.
I didn't know. You didn't know.
So, are we going into all the different cool fight sequences.
Well, we started off talking about Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
Do you think she was right for this role, or was there someone else that could have played this?
I think she was right for this role. I liked her because she was unassuming. I really couldn't picture her as being an assassin. The fact that she was utilizing things around her to fight dirty really made it more entertaining for me, and it made sense. She's smaller, she's weaker. The fact that she would be using all these techniques as well as really trying to utilize her body weight to hang off of people or use her legs to wrap around a guy's neck.
Oh, that move?
Yeah.
What scene? I don't recall
the
that.
scene where she duels off with the psycho chick that works in the kitchen with the... Remember the funny thing?
She did it to the guy in the restaurant?
Yeah. She wraps her legs around his neck. He's basically taking her and trying to smack her down on the table.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Yes, that's it. She's utilizing her body weight.
But she didn't do the swing around thing, the Black Widow swing around thing.
No.
She didn't do that. That's what I'm talking about.
They made it more interesting.
Right.
But she still utilized her body weight in some way.
Yeah, but it's not advantageous. What they do get right here is that, and I hope that they would do this, is that the main character, she is at a disadvantage because she is of a lighter weight.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have the muscle capability, etc., and the height. She's going to have to use props around her and the environment to up the ante and take advantage of the situation and overcome people, especially mostly men. And the movie does do this. They utilize a lot of props. You're able to get more into the movie because of that. However, at the same time, there are instances in which she does get bested in the middle of fights. Sometimes it happens multiple times in an action sequence, and she'd be down for the count.
That's a fantastic.
She would have broken a rib behind her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because normally people think, at least I do, when you break a rib, you always think, oh, it's in the front. You break a rib, yada, yada. But you can break a rib from behind in your back, and this would have happened multiple times for her, I think.
She was thrown around like a rag doll quite a bit.
A few times. More in that club sequence where she's protecting that random chick. That's her first assignment.
First assignment, yeah. They did a trial run previously.
Inside the facility / opera house cover. It's a race to assemble a gun and then kill the other person. But the person that she is doing this with says, oh, you're me 5 years ago or something along those lines.
Something like that.
They do it well where she doesn't outright kill her. They actually make it so that Eve finishes the gun before her, holds the gun up, and doesn't pull the trigger, waits for her to raise her gun, and so it becomes self-defense when she fires on her.
Was it that she didn't want to fire right away, or is there an issue with the loading? Because it seemed like she had to move something else around.
No, she was just waiting.
Okay.
She didn't want to kill her in cold blood. She wanted to wait until it was self-defense, I think. Yeah, which was good. It kept her sympathetic. If she had killed someone in cold blood, then it could have made her unlikable. At least for me, it would have.
So I have a question for you. Do you believe that there's a nature versus nurture question in this movie?
No, I think it's more about choice versus fate.
I think it's nature versus nurture because you see the difference between Eve and her sister. How her sister was raised in this and that she couldn't leave and there was nothing else out there besides being an assassin. Whereas their father wanted something different for Eve. And so he took her out of that.
There's a lot of backstory here that we don't know about. We don't even get to meet Eve's mother, who presumably is Aryan because there's this unspoken Aryan supremacy
how to word this
narrative that's underneath the narrative that's not spoken about, because this village her heritage comes from is in the Austrian Alps, it seems. And a lot of these people in the village that she later goes to seek vengeance against the chancellor, the leader of this cult as they're called, most of these people in the village are blue-eyed and blonde. So
for the most part, yes.
I can only presume that would mean her mother was that, and her father was Spanish around there.
They didn't want to go too deep in that portion.
No, but they could have. We talked about it before, where they could have explored or layered the antagonists with this kind of Aryan supremacy
Make him even more
motivation.
evil.
Yeah, sure. But maybe that would have muddled the movie.
He definitely wanted children to be raised in this cult. He didn't want them to leave. Their parents didn't really matter as much as long as their children would come back. But I'm spacing on his name from Walking Dead.
Norman Reedus.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we just realized after talking it over that Norman Reedus is the uncle of Ana de Armas' character.
Mm-hmm. Tis true.
But I swear I never heard that talked about in the movie.
No.
Never heard that spoken about.
Nope. But, I mean, they let him live. They didn't have a fatal blow and kill him. So they just did that to
get the child.
Yeah.
Because Norman Reedus defects from that group.
Mm-hmm.
Hallstatt, the cult group in the Austrian Alps. He defects from it with his daughter, paralleling the beginning of the movie, and now he's doing it with his daughter, who's also half black. So now we also have another situation where there's a lot of backstory here that's not talked about. It makes you think, well, okay, so how do people get into the village, whether it be the father of Ana de Armas? How did he meet the mother of Ana de Armas in that village? What do they have, an assassin's dating app? What is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
How are they meeting people outside of the village if they're closed off and not speaking to anyone?
That is a good question.
Not interacting with them.
That is a very good question.
Hey, they don't talk about this stuff in the movie. It's a very straightforward action movie. It's surface level stuff when it comes to familial dysfunction. And it's kind of stereotypical in that way. Our main female protagonist wants revenge on someone who killed her daddy. Okay. The biggest thing I would say with this movie is that it's kind of a remake of the first John Wick. Why? Because
haven't seen it.
They recreate a situation in which our main character is seeking vengeance for what a group of people did to something he cared about, which in the first movie is his dog. Now, it's deeper. Well, no, they have a deeper level to it. On the surface, it sounds funny because it's a dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they make it deeper in that the dog was a gift by his late wife.
Oh.
That's why he's pissed off. What was more unique about the first film is it had a narrative or a motivation that was not stereotypical. This film does have a stereotypical thing of female protagonist wants revenge on someone who killed her dad. I mean, this is going back.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't make it unique enough. What I can give it props for are a couple of the, camera movements and some of the action sequences. The best action sequence in this movie involves flamethrowers.
Yes.
And part of it is because it seems to me and my critical eye that they're actually doing a lot of this stuff practically. They're burning the set, they're shooting actual flames in bursts that look like, you said...
Fireballs.
Fireballs, yeah, that's right.
It made me think of those games that you would play, arcade games, Mortal Kombat-esque, where...
Or Bowser.
I think of
and Mario.
Okay, whatever. I think of Mortal Kombat more so, where you as a kid... My favorite action sequence, I would say when Ana de Armas is fighting that chick in the kitchen.
We're probably an hour into the movie, because the last hour takes place mostly in this Austrian village. And the first fight that happens is in this lodge restaurant. And there's someone that works in the kitchen she thinks is an innocent. She says, "I'm not here to hurt you," but the chef assassin actually could have been more crafty with that, where she watched her walk away, and then when she has her back turned, that's when you attack her.
Well, there's a code of conduct, I think, that assassins have to abide by.
Is that right?
Yes.
And you know all about it, huh?
Mm-hmm. I've been undercover this whole time.
What I think you're responding to is that they established a dynamic between them, a shorthand that was well done in that way, because everyone else they're dressed in stereotypical, like, black clothing, blah, blah, blah. But she's fighting against someone who's dressed in kitchen clothing that you don't think is going to be an assassin.
I really liked that fight sequence because it goes on for quite a bit, and they both are evenly matched. When Eve is up against any type of male assassin or anyone else, her punches, they land, but you can tell that it's not really affecting the other person as much, the other guy. they're evenly matched, and so it's now they both have to fight dirty. Plates get scattered everywhere, and the gun is somewhere underneath the plate, so they're both breaking plates on top of each other's heads.
A whole bunch of plates fall on the floor and comically breaking plates over each other's heads. And I almost think that's a commentary on women in the kitchen type of situation that they're doing right there.
Male chauvinist pig.
Mommy, why did you call Daddy a male chauvinist pig just now?
What'd you think about that?
I didn't see that. I just saw that it was interesting to utilize every part of that kitchen.
Let's look at that for a second. They're breaking plates over each other's heads, and there are a whole bunch of shards that become sharp points. One of them could have stabbed the other in the neck or someplace vulnerable. They didn't. They just kept comedically smashing plates over each other's heads. Good. They need some comedic beats and levity in this movie, because a lot of it is serious. And all this stupid terminology they throw around. Okay, so we'll get into it now. John Wick, he's called Baba Yaga, I think.
The one they call the Baba Yaga.
If you look this up, first of all, it sounds like Baby Yoda, and the Slavic translation means grandmother witch. Look it up, you'll see. It's ridiculous that he's called that, and it's almost as if, did the filmmakers realize what they were doing? The writers realize this? And the title that she's called, Eva's, Ana de Armas, is Kikimora.
No, I think the assassins are called the Kikimora.
The Slavic mythology, this is actually like a demonic presence. You want to do like pagan mythology when it comes to the terminology and titles of various characters in this. I can get on board with the main baddie of the leader of the village is called Chancellor. The leader of the opera house is called the director. So they're not called Slavic terminology. Without even looking at the meaning behind Baba Yaga, it sounds so silly. It sounds ridiculous. It's not an intimidating sounding name.
Does it sound menacing?
No, it does not.
Huh?
It's a stupid name. Ana de Armas, she sees him in the stairway and says, "Are you the Baba Yaga?" I have expected him to turn around and say, "Yeah, it's a stupid name. Don't call me that. Just John." Keanu Reeves is
a great actor.
No, he's one of the worst actors. But the reason he gets away with it is because he has this indescribable
charm,
innocence, even though he's a violent character. It's almost, how do I say this without sounding mean? Handicapped.
He's just not that great.
He's a little slow. He seems a little slow. And his delivery literally is slow. In my mind, I just excuse it to think that he's been through so many bouts, confrontations, and had so many blows to the head throughout his time as John Wick. Not Keanu Reeves, but the character, I mean. And that would explain why he's slow and awkward in his delivery, because he has probably brain damage.
Is he retarded?
That's how I excuse
it. It's not that
it.
he's mysterious, and that's just how he talks.
No, he doesn't deliver it mysteriously. Hey, John, you want to go get some dinner? Yeah. Okay. I could do that. Whoa. It's slow. It's not dramatic.
You can still leave. You still have a choice.
He has his own way of doing things.
It's not like everyone else.
He's still likable, though.
Yes, he's very likable.
Still likable. Paradoxically.
So I know you asked the question at the beginning about why ballerinas.
You're talking about why she's inducted or why they're
ballerinas.
Why is there an opera house in general?
So,
yeah, because it just seems to cover, and it's not even, it doesn't play a part in the fight sequences. There are no balletic moves that she puts into her fighting.
So
I don't see that.
I watched an interview with Len Wiseman, and he said the reason why he chose ballerina was because of the discipline.
Hold on a second. He's taking credit for putting ballerinas in the movie?
I don't know that
he didn't write the
but
script.
He was talking about that.
The script has been floating around for years. It wasn't originally a part of the John Wick franchise, but they turned it into the ballerina movie. Maybe there wasn't any ballerina stuff in it,
perhaps.
But I approach that skeptically.
He said it was for a discipline reason.
Well, maybe he's grasping at straws. I mean, the guy did lose Kate Beckinsale, so. Low blow.
That is true. But look at her now, though, unfortunately.
Well, now she's grasping at her own kind of straws.
So yeah, that was... syringe straws, I get it.
And there aren't really any interesting assassins in this movie.
No, they're all basically henchmen.
And they're all dressed the same. The only thing interesting is that there are families in this Hallstatt village who have kids.
Yes,
and so she
I mentioned
is
it.
potentially killing parents of children.
Thus making
You don't
more
have
killers.
any kids fighting. Eve pulls into the village for the first time and almost hits a mother and son. The son gives her a gun sign. Are you kidding me? That kid deserves to have his ass beat for that shit.
Well,
so given that, he's ready for...
it was a wink that
he's already homicidal.
Yeah. It was a wink that these kids are lethal.
Yeah, but we never see that. They don't... Would that mean... Oh, are they avoiding that Ana de Armas
wouldn't kill kids?
Wouldn't kill... We don't want to see her kill kids, blah, 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 blah. Look, she doesn't have to kill them necessarily. Maybe one. It'd be interesting.
One casualty.
At least one. Set up that psychotic kid who gave her the gun sign. All right, set him up as the kid that she'll eventually have to off. And then the rest she can spare. Just incapacitate them and not kill them. Have a fight sequence between she and a couple kids, maybe. It could be even funny.
You do like a dog pile on her?
Well, they still have to show that they're lethal. You could play around with that. They don't do that. That's a missed opportunity right there.
All the acting was really good.
Oh, wait. I wanted to bring this up.
Okay, what?
So Gabriel Byrne plays the Chancellor. He's the main baddie. I'm a big fan of that actor because, one, I grew up with a movie that he plays a bad guy in called Shipwrecked. And he plays a pirate. He pretends to be an official captain of a British ship when he's really a pirate. And he's just a delightful villain ever since seeing him as a kid in that. He's got a gravitas and, he's understated. He's not over the top. He could have actually gone a little more over the top in Ballerina, had moments of outbursts. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe him being more understated about losing was a better choice. And the other role that he's exceptional in is in Treatment, where he plays a therapist.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is pretty great in that show, must admit.
Very unique show as well. What's crazy about the show in Treatment, this is a tangent, I don't care. My recollection is there are about 40 episodes. And the reason is because they're around 20 to 30 minutes. Each episode is a day of the week and a session with one of his patients. But on Friday, he goes to see his own therapist. So it's a very unique show in that way. I recommend the first season. The first season is the best. The rest are kind of, you can take it or leave it. So
It's a pretty great show.
they tried to bring it back with somebody else and it didn't work.
No.
How fucking dare you!
You have to have Gabriel Byrne. Back to Ballerina.
Back to Ballerina.
The movie takes place between John Wick 3 and 4. There are enough good moments in it where it's worthy enough to recommend.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines. So it was really good. The end where the bad guy gets killed, the Chancellor, it was underwhelming.
That
really.
was, yeah. He just
really
gets shot in the head, I think. That's
Yeah.
it. The Gabriel Byrne deserves a better kill than that, a better death.
More of a Sean Bean type death.
Yeah, like the one he had in Black Death where his ligaments get pulled apart. He wasn't a bad guy in that, by the way, so.
Oh, crazy. But yeah, I would recommend.
Okay, well there is your first guest appearance.
Woohoo!
And only one.
Yeah, last and only. Or first and only. Kyle and I watched Ballerina.
Is Kyle not here?
And, well, because I'm talking to you. Not talking
I know, but you just referred to me in the third person.
Take 50. You and I watched Ballerina.
You should see the outtakes of the videos that she's done for her own channel.
No, it's not.
Cut to one of them.
No. It's embarrassing.
I have the power to show her.
No. Cringy, I know. Get used to it. It's going to be a lot of this video.